Hey everybody, I'm back! Woo! It took longer than I suspected. I had 2 whole weeks of hiatus. Well, I expected the one because I was at Midwest Fur Fest. I was standing in line for about 2.5 hours, but it was a very enjoyable con other than that. We'll get into that at a later date. Certainly, it's something to talk about, certainly a topic for discussion. I think that it would certainly be of interest in fandom in general about logistics and how to taper down on that kind of stuff. So I'm working on that currently. I'm working on looking at that kind of issue and how to resolve that kind of issue for conventions in the future. But that aside, I got con crud, which is probably something else I should talk about on this channel at some point, is how to prevent yourself from getting con crud other than wearing surgical masks, which, by the way, I did see one or two people wearing surgical masks. Probably visitors from Japan, because they did, because that is a thing out there where they wear surgical masks in public places in order to kind of keep themselves from getting the con crud. Good on you, because you probably didn't get the con crud. I got the con crud. Particularly, it hit hard last Friday, basically when I was about to stream, but I didn't want to cough like a madman, so I kind of took a break. And you guys have been kept making news like crazy since I was on the 2-week hiatus. Not only the Midwest Fur Fest thing, but a lot of different things. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie posters of utmost cringe have come out. And, like, the one thing about the one with the legs is I noticed that there's this one little thing with this. There's a ring on the guy's shoelace. And that thing drives me nuts. It's like, why does Sonic's shoelaces have piercings? It's like, everyone's looking at his legs. I'm looking at his shoelace. I'm like, what is with that gold ring on his shoelace? That's weird. Detective Pikachu also was announced. I think it was announced before I went to MFF, but so those are two big movies that are going to come out in 2019, and hopefully someone from Flera will have the money to cover that. I know we have one person who watches furry movies a lot and does reviews of them. I'll talk with him, and hopefully he has like the ability to go out and watch those movies and do a review for us, because I think that would be great. What else? Sonic Fox, again, in the news. Like, I did a coverage of him before I left, and now he's in another thing. He got Esports Player of the Year, and he made a speech at this sort of, what's it called? A rewards ceremony that looks a lot like the Oscars, which is kind of strange, because usually when we're talking about sports contenders, usually when they get awards, it's not like this big like Oscar type thing. I don't know why the gamers took the Oscar aesthetic, honestly. Like, it's like, it just doesn't seem like them. It's like, oh, look at this, we're posh and we have celebrities and things like that. It's like, I don't think it's quite the gamer culture. I don't know. Like, I don't know why it looked like, I mean, the whole arena looked like it was an Oscar ceremony, and that's why it sort of like was kind of strange to me. Sonic Fox's speech was great. It was kind of humbling and awesome, because in a way, because it was like, oh man, he's so shy and dorky, and it's like, oh man, I kind of feel better now, because I'm kind of bad as well, and it kind of is. It's like, this guy is one of the greatest fighter game players in the world, and he's choking on his words and trying to figure out what he's got to say, because it's like, that's not what he was trained for, right? And it's like, it's kind of humbling and awesome to see that. And of course, there were some people who took advantage of that and were being jerks and were like, see this guy stuttering. It's like, yeah, he's not a public speaker. That's not his job. His job is to play fighting games. And that other things. Obviously, what he said caused political controversy. It's like, it's his stage time. If you want to say something about Democrats when you get up there, if you win something, go ahead and do it. I mean, it's your time, I guess. And of course, Democrats will criticize you for saying bad things about Democrats if you get on the stage. That's just how politics is, guys. You just got to deal with it. That being said, it's kind of funny because Ian Chung ended up getting into a back and forth with Sonic Fox, and I'm like, I've covered both of them on this channel a little bit. One of them was because of Ian's way he covered furry topics, and I'll post a link up in the description below. It was like a 15-minute rant about how he had used some random pictures of furries when discussing a particular sect of the furry fandom which committed a heinous crime, which I did a few videos on this channel. And so, like, how he used images in an incorrect manner. Ironic for me to be arguing about ethics in journalism to somebody who's a Gamergate, who's like one of the big proponents of Gamergate. It's sort of ironic that I have to teach him about ethics in journalism and saying you got to use the right photo for the right moment. But you can watch that whole rant up there. I won't retread old ground. That being said, I met a lot of you at MFF, and I'm not going to talk about MFF too much. We'll talk more about. I'll only say that it got over 10,000 furries, so we've reached the 5-point attendance cap. What that means for the future, we'll go over in the future in a future video, and we'll go over what sort of the projections are for next year. They went over projection by a bit. I think my projection for this year was like 10,300. It reached 10,750, which is higher than projected, and that's probably added to the whole convention line issue. So, that being said, I met a lot of you viewers, regular viewers there. I met Sam the Fulf there, and he was his first convention, and he went on stage. Man, you jumped into this thing full barrel, man. Good on you. I would have. I haven't even been on the variety show stage, and I've been in this fandom for a long time. So the fact that you jumped into that on your first year, good on you. Met Epitome again. Epitome and Dr. Cat in the lounge. It seems like if we don't even plan it, it just so happens that we just randomly end up in that particular room at the same time. Dr. Cat is the person who created the game Furlandia, which is an online game, and Epitome uses that one a lot. So learned about how they went through the next year, and I'll probably run into them in the lounge the next year. Who knows? Probably at random again. Who knows? But anyways, who else did I meet there? Met Cirrus the dragon guy. He was the one who corrected me on my Denver my Denver article that I wrote for their record-setting attendance for the first year. I had accidentally said Biggest Little Fur Con was the largest one before that in my written statement. He was correct. He corrected me and said, well, it's actually the one in the Philippines that actually got the record between there and there. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's good to know. And I kind of figured I was wrong about that. He also criticized me on my ability to ramble a bit and not get on point. So, yeah, I'll take that into consideration to be a little more poignant, a little more pointed in my my videos to get to the point a lot more sooner. That being said, I will probably make this my sort of MFF follow-up video, and I'll go into the actual topic that I was going to cover this week next in the next video, because I've already kind of rambled on a bit. This is kind of like a quick blurb about certain things that happened that got a lot of coverage. So I think I got mostly everything that got a lot of coverage. There's a bunch of other little things that we can go on about in the future. But I was glad to see you guys at MFF, and I hope to see you guys again there next year. This will be sort of a bonus video that sort of goes up a little later on. And so thank you very much for watching once again. And I hope to see you again next time. Thanks.